Ignoring what I'm about to tell you could mean missing the single biggest forced selling event for a major Bitcoin proxy stock, an event that could completely derail its price action.
And here's the crazy part. This massive, nearly $9 billion risk isn't coming from a market crash or some kind of corporate scandal. Nope. It's coming from an index committee's decision to just redefine a single term.
Stick with me, because by the end of this explainer, you are going to understand this entire high-stakes battle, the exact timeline you need to watch, and why MicroStrategy is now claiming this is actually a matter of U.S. national security. Okay, so let's dive right into the threat. First, you've got to understand who we're talking about here. MSCI. That's Morgan Stanley Capital International. These are the people who provide the benchmarks that trillions, and yes, I mean trillions with a T of dollars, in passive investment funds are forced to track.
And you have to get this. This isn't a suggestion, it's a command. If MSCI decides to remove a stock like MicroStrategy from its index, every single fund that tracks that index has to sell its shares. It is a purely mechanical, completely unavoidable wave of selling pressure.
And this right here is the weapon they're thinking about using. As you can see, MSCI is considering a new rule to exclude what they're calling digital asset treasury companies, or DATs. Now look really close at that definition. A company where digital assets make up 50% or more of its total assets. I mean, come on, that rule seems practically tailor-made to target one company and one company only, MicroStrategy.
In this slide, this gets right to the heart of the fight. On one side, you have MSCI basically arguing that MicroStrategy, with its huge Bitcoin stack, is acting more like a passive investment fund. But on the other side, Michael Saylor's team is firing back, insisting, no, we are an active operating company. And that distinction, it's absolutely critical.
So this brings us to MicroStrategy's really powerful and, let's be honest, highly unconventional counterattack. See, they didn't just decide to fight this on financial terms, they escalated it in a huge way. On December 10th, MicroStrategy didn't just respond, they fired back with a blistering 12-page letter straight to the MSCI committee. This wasn't just some simple rebuttal, this was them drawing a line in the sand against this whole idea.
And this, right here, this is the knockout punch of their whole argument. They've framed supporting the Bitcoin network not just as some corporate strategy, but as a matter of American national interest. I mean, wow! This move completely changes the battlefield from some dry financial debate to a full-blown geopolitical one.
So let's break down the three pillars of their defense. First, they're arguing, hey, we're an operating company. We actively manage capital, we issue debt, we're nothing like a passive ETF. Second, they're calling the rule discriminatory. They're asking why companies holding massive reserves of oil or timber aren't being reclassified. And it's a great question, right? Why single out Bitcoin? And third, well, that's when they bring out the heavy artillery, the national security angle, arguing that Bitcoin is a strategic asset for the United States.
So the big question is, what happens if MSCI just ignores this defense and goes ahead anyway? Well, this is where the numbers start to get really, really ugly. JP Morgan actually ran the numbers on the potential fallout. Their analysis lays out a potential two-phase disaster. In Phase 1, just getting removed from the MSCI indexes alone would trigger an immediate $2.8 billion in forced selling from those passive funds. But that's just the start. Phase 2 is what they call index contagion. See, other index providers often just follow MSCI's lead, which could push the total forced selling up to a staggering $8.8 billion. All this forced selling creates what's known as a doom loop. The selling pressure absolutely tanks the stock price. This in turn makes it way harder and more expensive for MicroStrategy to raise capital with stock offerings, which is the very method they use to buy more Bitcoin. It effectively breaks their entire business model, their flywheel. All right, so the crucial question for anyone watching the crypto space is, does this crash Bitcoin? And what are the key dates we absolutely have to have on our radar? Let's break it down. Now let's be crystal clear about something. MicroStrategy wouldn't be forced to sell its actual Bitcoin holdings. But honestly, that's not even the point. MSTR stock is seen as a major high-beta proxy for Bitcoin. A violent crash in its share price because of some index rule would send a massive risk-off signal across the entire crypto market. It would almost certainly trigger a broader sell-off based on sentiment alone. Okay,
This is the timeline you need to circle on your calendar right now. The MSCI consultation period ends on December 31st, 2025. Then the final decision gets announced just 2 weeks later on January 15th, 2026. And if they approve the exclusion, the forced selling could kick off as early as February. The clock is absolutely ticking on this one.
And this really leaves us with a pretty provocative final thought. This isn't just about one company's stock, is it? It forces us to ask a much bigger question. Is messing with boring old financial index rules the new, sophisticated attack vector on Bitcoin and the companies that support it?
Don't get left behind. This is Crypto Global News. You absolutely cannot afford to miss our emergency update when this decision drops. Smash that subscribe button and hit the bell icon right now. For our US viewers, this is Frontline Financial News. To get our uncensored analysis first, join our Telegram using the QR code on your screen or the link in the description. Do it now. And this whole situation plays into a much, much bigger trend. To really understand the full context, you need to watch our next briefing on the global rise of strategic Bitcoin reserves, which I'm linking right here. Click it, and I'll see you there.
Stay ahead in the crypto market. Subscribe now for the latest global news and updates.